Hey guys, it's Casual Demon here. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my thoughts on the free game called Valorant. I'm sure probably most of you have heard what this game is, and how it's very similar to CSGO, and it has also some Overwatch elements as well. And this video is basically the pros and cons this game has, and how it compares to CSGO. And this is all my opinion. Gameplay that you're seeing right now is from the Valorant beta. The very first thing about this game that kind of appealed to everyone was how good the servers were, and that's not even an exaggeration. There's 128 servers in just regular matchmaking, which is a significant upgrade from CSGO's matchmaking, which is 64 tick. Probably at first you're probably thinking that it doesn't really make a difference, but as you play normal matchmaking and something like Face It, which is basically like a matchmaking kind of like program, and it's got its own ranking system, and it has way better servers and a way better anti-cheat for CSGO, and that just kind of shows how bad CSGO's anti-cheat system really is. The anti-cheat looks way better than CSGO's anti-cheat, and this means that matchmaking in Valorant is actually playable. However, people say that the anti-cheat scans every file in your PC and that it causes a lot of issues. Personally for me, it hasn't caused any issues, but I've read online a load of people saying that it caused them to blue screen and it disabled the input with the keyboards and mouse, and they had to reboot their PC in safe mode because of it. Now obviously that doesn't look good for Valorant, but personally for me I haven't had any issues, but I can see why they probably hate Valorant's anti-cheat system. Recently, CS is trying to kind of combat hackers, and the way they're trying to do that is not having a better anti-cheat, it's actually disabling people from using like third-party programs like OBS, like Overwolf, also MSI Afterburner, which a lot of people use.
Oh, what a clip.
And really, that's not really the way to deal with it.
Let's go.
Just getting a better anti-cheat. But you know, they do what they do. I just play Face It. I don't really care about matchmaking. It's kind of just a joke, really. But a lot of people still play it. Another good thing about Valorant is that the game is not that demanding. So you can get a decent amount of FPS with a lower NPC, but there's also the same for CSGO. It's quite good actually, because even on pretty outdated PCs, I feel like you can get a decent amount of FPS, and but it just makes it more accessible for people who don't have the money to get a good gaming PC. Another thing that I liked about Valorant is sniping. For me personally, I was really inconsistent when sniping in CSGO, but in Valorant I can hit like 90% of my shots, and this is also a bad thing, because then you have to ask if sniping is too easy, because in CS you have to be completely still, but in Valorant you can move a bit and you have a little bit more room to move. You're not as restricted when firing, and it makes you a lot harder to hit when you're like kind of jiggle peeking. In this video I'm probably demonstrating that perfectly. Now, moving on with the bad things about Valorant, my first complaint is that some of the characters' abilities are OP. Raze can shoot a rocket and most characters can't counter it. The only character that I can think of that can counter it, actually there's two. Actually no, there's one. The person that can throw up ice walls can counter it by just putting up the ice wall. Also, probably Jet can counter it pretty good, I'd imagine, by just dashing away. But those are really the only two characters. If you play in Brimstone, which used to be my main, then you're pretty much screwed. You just have to hope that one of your teammates can refrag. But apart from that, there's another character that's quite OP as well. It has a really OP ultimate ability that can shoot energy blasts that pierce walls, and also it shows like an outline of your character when it hits you, so they can kind of like they kind of know where you're going, and the only way to get out of it is using Raze, Jet. I think that's probably it. These characters are kind of a problem for competitive reasons, such as you have to have very specific characters to counter these, and also that developers said that the characters are only going to have tactical abilities, but instead some of them have lethals. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing about it is it kind of forces a lot more team play. It makes characters. You can't just go with any character, right? You kind of have to, like, say if you've got a load of fragging characters. Like, fragging just means kills, really. So if you have a lot of fragging characters, then you might want a healer, so they can go in, get healed, or get rezzed, and that benefits the team a lot, because I feel like they have a more chance of winning. In CSGO, you get rewarded a lot for knowing the map, and I'm not just talking about how to navigate it, I'm talking about different smokes and lineups is a really big advantage for your team. In Valorant, you don't really get this because smokes are done on a tablet. The skill caps are a lot closer together. Another thing that brings the skill gap closer is a recoil, which is pretty non-existent in Valorant, and recoil patterns do not exist because after a couple of bullets, it's RNG. But with CSGO, you can't be a high skilled player without knowing recoil patterns. A high skilled player is knowing smokes, flashes, how to control recoil. That's what you get when you're a high skilled player. That's what you know how to do. Most of it is just muscle memory, like the recoil, and I guess obviously when you learn the smokes, obviously you can just remember it really. I mean, once you learn the lineup, it's hard to forget, to be honest with you. But it creates a bigger skill gap in CSGO though, which is kind of better. It's much easier for you to win when you know these smokes, right? And it's much harder for the enemy team to counter it, like counter you pushing onto the site when you smoked it off and they can't even see you. The maps in CSGO are mostly 3-laned, that people aren't scared to push, and there's not that many corners for people to hide in. But in Valorant, there's a lot of corners, and the maps, I think one map is like 5-laned, and the other is like 3-laned. And this kind of encourages campers, because there's 2 people getting rewarded for sitting in corners, and that makes more campers. Obviously, if you're in a nice little stack, you don't really have to worry about people not pushing when you've got utility on the site. But personally, and a lot of other players that don't play in like a 5-stack, it's going to be a lot more common for people just not to push, and it's just kind of annoying really. The reason why people don't push is because there's so many angles on a site sometimes. You know, obviously if you're in a 5-stack you can coordinate more, you can get smokes down, but when you're playing with randoms you can't really do that all of the time. A huge problem for Valorant is that there are only 4 maps that you can actually play. Now as people play more, the maps will get more and more stale. Right off the bat, it kind of sounds very problematic in the lifespan for this game, although the maps are all very unique in their own way and the way they play. One map has 2 teleporters, and it's got at least 4 lanes, which is quite a lot to be honest. But another one is just a simple 3-lane map, and these maps give a lot of different levels of verticality and playable space. My last complaint is that the skins are way too expensive for what you actually get. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in Valorant you can get bundles that cost about £30 to £40, and you get like 2 skins and a bunch of other random stuff. And I understand it's a free game, but so is CSGO, so there's not really an excuse there. And in CSGO you can get really good skins for about £5 or £10, and in Valorant you pay £30 to £40 for only 2 skins, and some random items like sprays that not many people want. I don't think you spend £30 to £40 for sprays, and then you're like, oh, I get some skins with it as well. It's more like you spend £30 to £40 for skins, and you also get some sprays. You could really say that CSGO has made Valve a lot of money, considering that it went free in the end of 2018. But you also have to consider the fact that Valve has made over 4.3 billion in revenue on Steam alone, and so Riot Games need to at least make money somewhere, but they could still lower the prices of their skins in my opinion. Personally for me, I like and enjoy CSGO more, but the fact that we're comparing a game that released in 2012 to a game that released in 2012 really speaks for itself. Not only are we comparing, but it still very much holds up to it as well. I enjoy playing Valorant a lot. That kind of could have been because I've got so many hours in CSGO, and I just kind of wanted something a little bit fresh. But I mean, to be honest, Valorant's not that fresh considering we've seen, well, considering this CSGO and Overwatch, it's kind of like a mix of them both, so it's not really that fresh. a lot of people thought that Valorant would take over CSGO completely. And this kind of means that everyone from CSGO would kind of go over to Valorant, and it's kind of happened in the pro scene. But the reason why I thought this, and a lot of other people thought this, was because of how good the servers were, and how much attraction the game is getting on Twitch. It got a lot of views. It got it got more than 150.91 million, and Fortnite, which had 129.33 million. And that kind of means by default that if people love watching your game, then they're probably going to love playing it as well. And these are kind of just my thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe, and leave a comment on your thoughts about both of these games down below.